So Afros In Nature is a nonprofit collective formed amongst friends to create safe environments in the natural world for Black, Indigenous, and people of color. So our mission is to plant seeds of safety in natural environments so that individuals of color, regardless of gender identity, sexual orientation, creed, or economic status, can create self-sustaining lifestyles with love-supporting community. As we were living in the times that we're living in and going through another round of civil unrest, I was in my car thinking about, the outdoors, because I like being outside. I spent a lot of time in my garden last summer, and it brought a sense of healing to me. And I was like, well, I feel like there should be groups of people that look like me that connect in this way in outdoor spaces. And I looked in the area for something like this, like some kind of support group for people of color to just go out in nature. And there wasn't really anything like it. And also, like, outdoor recreation is not very accessible. So then that was a thought that had come to mind. I reached out to a friend who connected me to my now friend Lewis, who is a big part of Afros In Nature as well. And then from there, I had an idea to tend to community gardens that are back here or behind my shop that have been neglected, and then got in touch with my friend Amanda, and I was like, this is an idea that I had a few days ago. Do you wanna, should we just do this as a unit? She's like, hell yeah. And then Nia came to the first day at the garden, and I was like, Nia, are you trying to be one of the founding members of this idea that came about a few days ago? And Nia was like, yeah. So then we came together, and that is how Afros In Nature came about. We recognized the need in our community for people of color to feel safe in outdoor environments, whether that is paddleboarding or hiking, or even not having the necessary education or green space to grow their own food, and trying to kind of create an environment where we are connecting with our planet again, because we live in it, we got to take care of it, and we can live off of it and take advantage of all of the health benefits that it provides us.
My experience has been incredible so far. It's the beginning. If you think about it, growing a plant that grows, there's this seed, and that seed started with an idea. And so that idea blossomed very quickly. Here we're thinking about finding a garden space. Here's this garden space available. So, all right, we're gonna meet on Wednesdays, and how inviting it is to have people of color in a space that allows people to feel welcomed and come. And we kept hearing repeatedly, oh, I walked by this space for years, but just never felt like I could come, And it was the power of gathering and just showing up and being yourself, And that grew into letting me look at myself and see all the different parts and work through my challenges and work through really feeling comfortable to possess my positive qualities as well. And that was happening interchangeably, and everybody sharing these stories in this gathering space. That was one, I'm not alone in my thoughts. I'm not the only one experiencing this. I'm not the only one having this particular type of journey that wants to feel welcomed and to be comfortable in being a person of color, And it was how we could just feel and exchange joy as plants are growing and people of all ages are interacting. We had children from being 2 years old and talking about a plant that somebody older in life has never met before, and it's just try it. So that's what Afros has been creating, is in all these different natural spaces, whether it be our urban garden, or whether it be meeting on a mountain and walking together. And our first walk, we experienced and came across this duck that was in the process of passing away, and there we are, all along this creek, and I go out and I'm looking, and this animal's making sounds, and we're all just there with it, you know, and speaking to this animal, but then also seeing that there's this other animal that's the same, you know, there's this duck, and it's just kind of swimming around this other duck, and it's like, hey, you're safe, you can pass, you know. And this animal just calmed down, you know. This duck was like, okay. And we all just were like, oh, this is nature. There's life, there's death, there's beauty, there's hardship. There's these interacting species and communities, and it opens up just this different opportunity for conversation, but also to feel safe enough to say, this is my experience, this is my story, and to be able to go back home, share that experience, to feel comfortable that you entered a natural space with a group, and now you're like, maybe I'll go out on my own and keep giving myself this maybe type of medicine, you know, like I can reflect, I can heal, I can maybe encourage myself to act upon the ideas that I might not think are possible when you're sitting around it and you're like, oh, it's all possible, like you know, and seeing the space and interacting with it and watching how that can grow.
Our team is just so beautiful because we are so transparent and honest with like our flow, and we all happen to be in this space at the same time where we're like, wow, we are very overwhelmed. How do we make sure that before we get to a point where the overwhelm just like outpours, let's read our mission, let's recognize the environment we're creating, and let's scale back. There's no race, there's no finish line, there's no race. We're coming from the heart, we're doing this from a healthy space. So let's continue to feed this healthy space. Otherwise, this will not work for the long term. Like, how can we best serve if we're creating this anxiousness and overwhelm, which is the opposite of like the environment we're wanting to create? And it's like, well, let's remember why we started this as a collective, and let's recognize that, and let's always revert to that mission and honor it and live it and be it. Otherwise, we're not doing the thing that we want to do for our people before our time has passed. So